All right, man, peace. So, brothers, this is going to be another entry in the series that I do on quote-unquote baby mama drama. And always understand this, brothers. At the very least, 50% of all baby mama drama that you go through, quote-unquote baby mama drama, is actually drama that you help to cause due to the fact that oftentimes brothers make very poor decisions in who they choose to be their consort or the woman who carries their seed, so on and so forth. That's why I make these videos called Black Man Protect Your Seed. That's not just in reference to your child after it's born. It's also in reference to your semen, to your seed when it's within your body, because it's the most valuable thing that you will ever produce. And I try to accentuate this in many of the videos that I make on this topic. You must understand that the female in this society views herself as a mother goddess figure. All you are is a drone in the beehive. She is the queen bee. Your job is to work for her and inseminate her when she wants you to inseminate her so that she can be glorified. But that is your role in this society, proverbially speaking. And it's not all these modern day liberal feminist women's fault, because they are products of their environment. The feminist movement has been allowed to propagate by men who have no idea what their role is in this society. Nobody knows what their role is in this society because we're living in a Babylonian society. We're living in a society of confusion. So when the man does not know his role and he does not understand that he's supposed to be the moderator and the administrator, the woman is going to run amok. So that brings us to Mr. Lonzo Ball, the neophyte backup point guard for the LA Lakers, who has been, I won't say suffering from, I don't want to even say folding under the pressure of, but he's had to deal with a lot of the strain of high expectations. And many times when brothers are dealing with high expectations, they try to relieve their stress outside of their workplace environment. Because many cats are going through very stressful scenarios in their workplace, and they start dating various women, and maybe they'll slip up because they drank one too many drinks or they smoked one too many blunts. And they'll quote unquote slip up and impregnate a woman, hoping that maybe it will alleviate some of the stress, because deep down it's embedded in the DNA of the so-called black man and all men to want to be the head of their household and to want to have children with a woman. But you also have to understand that in this society, the woman is allowed to fully optimize her opportunistic alter ego, and they will take advantage of you if you get caught slipping. Many times cats get their woman pregnant, and as soon as the woman knows that she's pregnant, she runs on social media to spill out what she wants the world to think about their relationship, because she knows that if she demonizes the man on social media, at the very least, people will look at that man different, even if none of what she's saying is true. And many times, none of what these women say is true, and unless they promise to provide receipts, they probably should not be taken that seriously unless they're claiming that the man is hitting them, so on and so forth, and they have police reports to back it up. I say all that to say this. Lonzo Ball impregnated his quote-unquote consort, his baby mama, Christina Garcia, and she immediately ran on social media to claim that he was a deadbeat dad. Why is that? Because I believe that she saw that she was losing power in their relationship once he started to gain prominence in the pros. Professional basketball, professional football, professional sports, period, is a totally different dynamic. And these guys, they do change. They go from college to the pros, and all of a sudden, they're worldwide international celebrities. Women everywhere are throwing themselves at these men, and they are going to take women up on their offers. So many times the chick from high school who was their prom date gets left behind. That happened with Dwayne Wade. And they try to act out. They try to restore order or bring that man back under their supervision by running onto social media and claiming that the man is a deadbeat dad, so on and so forth. These are things that brothers have to watch out for, even in your regular life. The woman that you're dealing with, how much does she respect the masculine principle? Is she with you because she sees an end game or because she sees a finish line? These are things that you have to be very, very cognizant and aware of. We all do, for that matter. Is the woman that you're with you for you? Or is she with you because of what she believes she can get out of you? Remember the film He Got Game? The character of Lala, played by Rosario Dawson? She was with the character of Jesus Shuttlesworth, played by Ray Allen, all the way from high school, because she felt like that was an investment that she was making. She thought that eventually he was going to marry her, or at the very least impregnate her and cement her future, to make sure that she was always going to be in an advantageous position. And when she realized that he was too smart to impregnate her, she tried to throw her coochie to a sports agent, so at the very least she can get a kickback from Jesus Shuttlesworth signing with that agent. And when he realized that, that was the dissolution of their relationship. So it's very obvious to me that Lonzo Ball should not have impregnated this woman. I don't think that any young man should be impregnating women in this society. 21 years old, 20 years old is way too young to be impregnating a woman in this society, in Babylon. I think that men should be waiting at the very least until they're 35, even 40 years old, and they understand who they are as a person, and they know where they're getting their money from. In the case of Lonzo Ball, he knows where he's getting his money from, but he's not mature enough as a man to understand many of the dynamics of a relationship with a modern day female. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
All right, moving on to Lonzo Ball, who balled out with the Lakers last time. He had a great game, 11 assists, helped the Lakers defeat.
Get off me. Y'all not even showing the best play. Watch this.
And of course, this is old footage because we know that Lonzo Ball is hurt, but this is in my DVR. And there's a video that I want to make for brothers, especially many of you younger brothers out there, 20, 21 years old, who are caught up in quote-unquote relationships with many of these women. And you don't understand how capricious, how whimsical these relationships can be. So please keep that in mind.
It wasn't just because LeBron James is not playing and he had an opportunity to, insert himself in there a little bit more. It's because his baby daughter was sitting courtside. Take a look at this. His 5-month-old daughter, Zoe, was with his baby mama, Denise Garcia. Are they still...
Now, notice that the narrator, I believe his name is Evan Rosenblum, or whatever his name is, who works for TMZ Sports, he correlated Lonzo's improved play with the presence of his daughter. What's the relevance of that? Because the woman knows that she has the power to affect the psychological outlook of the man by pulling his child away from him, because she knows that by nature, the man, when he's in his right frame of mind, he wants to have his child near him, or at least know what his child is doing, where his child is at, what's going on with his child, and his woman for that matter. They know that. So in a way to destabilize the man, they will try to run on the internet, on social media, to make claims about that man that may be true or untrue, but either way should be kept private between them, and so that they could work it out. But they try to reveal things publicly to shame the man, to try to get him to conform to what they want, or to try to exhibit a sense of power that they feel like has been taken away from them. Many modern day females feel powerless once a man ascends to a certain level of acclaim or prestige, especially in our so-called quote-unquote community, the so-called black community. Once a so-called black man elevates to a level of prominence, the black woman feels like she's owed something from a man, even if she does not even know that man. That's why they become so concerned about affluent black men, quote-unquote, marrying black women, when they're not concerned about the average so-called black man who's a working man, whether he be a plumber, a delivery man, working for UPS or FedEx, a sanitation worker. They're not concerned with marrying those men. They're worried about the 0.001% of all black men in America who happen to be professional athletes or celebrities. So brothers have to be cognizant of this, because there's a trickle-down effect. You have to understand your own self-worth and your value before you release your seed to that woman. It's very important, because this society teaches us that the mother goddess figure is the ultimate figure, and that everybody should venerate her and bow down to her. That's what they're in the process of trying to convert this society over to, the worship of the woman. It's been a process that's been going on for the last 40 years, and they're trying to ratchet it up so that the feminine energy is the supreme energy, not just in the woman, but also in the man. That's what the homosexual movement is about. It's about the veneration of the feminine principle within a male body. Okay? That's why the feminist movement is always linked to the homosexual movement, which is now linked to the transgender movement. All that is a sexual identity disorder, or a gender identity disorder. That's why they try to demonize quote-unquote heterosexual men. And of course, the heterosexual black man is at the very, very bottom of the totem pole, and based on your ideology, might not even exist on the totem pole. But once again, just to get back to the point, this female here was on record as going on social media and trying to slam Lonzo Ball as a deadbeat dad coming into this season. Why is that? Because she felt like he was vulnerable. Once again, brothers, you will learn the most about people when you're going through adversity. not when you're at a level of prestige, not when you're at your highest. Okay? You're not going to learn about the people around you when you're at your pinnacle. You're going to learn about them when you're at your nadir, at your bottom point. That's when you'll learn about people. I always cite this in Job, the 2nd chapter, I believe the 9th verse. When he was brought low, when he had boils and plagues, and his wife told him, just curse God and die. Why is that? Because she never loved him to begin with. She loved what he stood for. Okay? When I say what he stood for, I'm talking about riches and prominence in their society at that time. So, love is a very, very tenuous thing. And I've stated this in other videos. Most people don't know how to love. They confuse love with infatuation. Infatuation is another way of saying being quote unquote in love. Love is about loyalty and sacrifice. Okay? That's all it's about. So the woman has to be willing to stick with you through thick and through thin, as long as you're putting forth your best effort. And she's not going to run on the internet to talk bad about you and so on and so forth. But a lot of you guys, you impregnate the woman even after she is shown that she's a negative creature. Why is that? Because you're accustomed to negative energy from the woman from your childhood upward. You're raised in these corrosive, acerbic, feminine dominated environments where you're accustomed to your mother or your sister talking down to you. You go to the school system where you're around other boys who are raised in similar environments, and girls who are raised to believe that they can approach men however they want. They can put their hands on men. They can talk down to men or boys however they want. And that's why the so-called black community is at such a deplorable state. Because the boys are not valued. They keep talking about black girls rock. Black girls, black women, women period, are not a threat to society at all. The woman is not a threat to society at all. She's a pawn. Her greatest strength is when she combines with her man. So that's what we have to concentrate on. A lot of these pro-blackity black dudes out here, a lot of these so-called activists, they pride themselves on teaching women we got to raise up the race. No, dude, there's an order. We have to get the men first, and the men get their woman. And that's how the man builds his bond stronger with his woman. Then they together teach their children. Then we all come together. A lot of these guys, they want to, quote unquote, allegedly teach women out here. Why is that? Because they want to run through them. They want to get the pussy. And that's all it's about. And it's bigger than that. But just to get back to this story right here, Lonzo Ball's going to have to deal with this woman. He's going to have to deal with her for the next 18, 20 years. Or at the very least, until she starts to lose her looks. And just looking at her face, she's already starting to lose her looks. I don't know how old she is. I mean, not to denigrate the brother's woman or whatever, but she's already losing her looks. She's already getting crow's feet around her eyes. But that happens to many women once they have a child, because once the woman has a child, the Lord wants them to start thinking about other things other than themselves. That's why the Lord will oftentimes take away a bit of a woman's natural looks once she starts having children, because it's not about you anymore. The woman normally is self-absorbed. She's a self-aggrandizer. She's a narcissist by nature. Are all women like that? No, but most of them are. So once they start having children, their job is to focus on their child. That's why the Lord gives them the maternal DNA. Okay? That's why he does that. That's why there are very few things stronger than the love of a woman for her child when she's in her right mind. When she's in her right mind. But we as men have to understand all these things before we impregnate the wrong woman. Because this society now teaches the woman to use the child as a weapon against the man. Even when they're together, you'll hear women say, I'm always going to choose my child over the man who gave me the child or my baby's daddy. It's not supposed to be a contest. You understand that, brothers? It's not supposed to be a contest of you against the child. That's really a almost satanic attempt to sow dissension in the quote-unquote nuclear family, which for the most part does not even exist in this society anymore. But brothers have to have their minds focused on things that are going to be productive for them at all times.
Dating, or are they on the outs right now?
I think they were on the outs, but they might be worked.
They're reconnecting?
Yeah.
And these type of things happen. They said they were on the outs, but now they're back. Why is that? Because Lonzo had to supplicate himself to her. He had to appease her in some way. And she's probably upset that he's been running around with different chicks. That's probably what it boils down to, or at least in her mind, that's what he's doing. Because many of these broads, they see that once you get access to certain things, they're going to start blowing up your phone, texting you what you're doing, where you at. I think you're cheating and stuff like that. So to a degree, I can understand what some of her insecurities may be. But at the end of the day, the process of these modern day liberal women is always going to be the same. And that's going to be public embarrassment or an attempt at public embarrassment. The woman is going to use the avenues that are presented to her to create as much toxicity as possible. So please keep that. Always remember that, brothers. Keep that in mind.
Why is that guy?
Brought the kid to the game.
Why does that guy next to her look so crazy? Like
He must be a Pistons fan.
He looks so uncomfortable.
I think he's in a way.
I don't know, but Denise looks great.
He looks great.
He was amazing.
And then, by the way, this is a good.
I wouldn't say she looks amazing. She looks decent. I mean, it depends on what you like. At the end of the day, Lonzo is going to have to make sure that he treats the situation with kid gloves. And I'm sure that LeVar is also involved in the situation because it does not look good on the family, especially when they're trying to amplify their brand, to have someone who's not in lockstep. They can't afford to have this female here not in lockstep. And she was trying to be an Instagram star a while back. I'm not sure if she still is because I don't really keep up with a lot of what these people do on Instagram and social media, things like that. But oftentimes, when the woman has plans for herself, when it comes to celebrity hood or celebrity ship, and they see that their man is surpassing them, they become envious. Look at Kevin Hart and his first quote-unquote baby mama. This chick actually tried to become a comedian after Kevin Hart's comedic career took off. She was so envious and jealous of him that she was trying to usurp his place on the comedic hierarchy. And anybody who ever heard her act knew that she had no talent whatsoever. She was just out there making an absolute fool of herself.
This is a good sign because there was a little talk that maybe these two weren't really getting along, but now you see them like she's
She brought up the game.
Yeah, she probably got a nice check, and Lonzo sent her some text messages saying, "Baby, I love you. I'm sorry. We're going to send you a few dollars. We're going to give you a front row seat at the next game. Please bring my daughter with you. We don't want any problems." Things of that nature.
And she brought the kid to the game. The kid, look how adorable that
Zoe,
kid
5
is.
months old, with the jersey on.
I gotta know something though.
What's that?
What kind of shoes does the baby have on?
I don't know. Can we pull out of that picture a little bit?
Is the baby?
But that's basically it on that, because now they're going to take the segment into some tomfoolery. Point being is this, brothers. Baby mama drama is always going to be partly your fault because of who you picked. Okay? This society tries to perpetuate this gender war shit. And there's a lot of cats that try to, bring attention to themselves by always talking about the woman all day, how everything is the woman's fault. The woman is a product of her environment. The man is the head of the woman. So the woman is more like a child out of control than she is anything else. When your mind is operating on a higher level, you understand that the woman is just a child with breasts. There's no disrespect to them. There's different levels of childhood with them. Are all of them like that necessarily? No, there are exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, the woman is a child with breasts, so you have to see things coming before they come. You can't be dealing with the woman on an equal plane and be surprised when confusion or chaos is pushed into your relationship. You have to see that coming already and recognize the signs when they appear before you, and always do something about it. When you see a red flag, you have to note that red flag. You can't just say this was a little occurrence, this was nothing. Everything is something. Okay? So peace.